We're following breaking news out of Los Angeles, where a gunman is barricaded inside a Trader Joe's grocery store, possibly with hostages, an unknown number of people, according to the LAPD. Police say that earlier the suspect, who was in his late teens, shot his grandmother and another female in what they're calling a domestic dispute. He then allegedly fled in his grandmother's car with that second female injured in that car. A police chase ensued, which ended at this Trader Joe's, with the suspect fleeing on foot and into the store after crashing, we understand, into a pole. A witness says that the suspect exchanged gunfire with the police. We've been watching a heavy police presence growing on that scene for a number of hours now. We've also seen several people climbing through a side window and down on a chain ladder. We've also learned that at least one woman has been taken to the hospital. The authorities say that she's in stable condition, but police say that she was removed from a vehicle, not the store. I want to go back to our national correspondent, Miguel Marquez, who is on the scene with an eyewitness. We understand, Miguel, you have just spoken with someone who actually lowered that ladder out of the window that people have been using to escape.
We have an employee here. I spoke to another employee earlier that said that the police were not just in pursuit, they were in hot pursuit. They were literally right on this individual. There was the crash in the parking lot. That individual fired 2 shots at the police. Police returned fire. Nobody hit in that. He went right by a security guard at the front door and into the store, and that's when people started pouring out, and that's where Sean Geraci comes in. You were in that store, at the back of the store. What did you hear? What did you see?
I was in the back storage room. I heard people screaming and heard a number of gunshots. I looked out the batwing doors from our storage room out onto the sales floor and saw both employees and crew members running up the aisles and knew that it was an active shooter situation.
How many, well, one, quick thinking on your part, do you train for this? Is this something that you keep in the back of your mind?
I think it's just an unfortunate state of today that, I'm always trying to just be cognizant of exits and emergency ways out.
Very busy Trader Joe's on a Saturday. What is it, 6,000, 7,000 feet or so, square feet in there? How many employees, how many people would have been in that store at the time?
I'm not sure. Off answer. I know our evening closing shift would have been on staff. As far as how many people there were, and I don't know, and I can't even estimate how many customers there were in the store.
How many employees, though, would be at the evening staff? Dozens?
Easily dozens. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then what happened? People running. What did you do then?
I wasn't sure if I had a viable exit on the ground floor, so I proceeded upstairs. We were even upstairs storage space. I moved through the storage space to a back, kind of a break room that we have, where we have an emergency ladder. Grabbed the emergency ladder. Proceeded even further back to a back storage area. I grabbed a couple of my coworkers, brought them back as well. I barricaded the hallway as best I could, grabbed a weapon, and put the ladder out the window. And after getting the attention of a SWAT officer, was able to indicate wanted to go out the ladder. He gave me a thumbs up, and I went down the ladder, held the ladder, was able to get 3 of my other coworkers to follow me out.
And so you were getting people out. Were you bringing people up with you, as well as trying to barricade wherever you guys were?
There was one person coming down the stairs as I was going up. I grabbed her. There was another person back in the break room. I grabbed her. There were additional people upstairs already, and just tried to figure a way out.
Employees gathering just a few hundred feet from where we are. Do you know if all employees are accounted for?
I do not, sir. I do not.
Do you know how many are missing right now?
I do not.
Is this store procedure that in a situation like this, that this is the place that you would gather?
We do have, in the event of a fire or an event of an earthquake, we do have places that we go, particularly our upper, I don't want to say where exactly, but obviously this situation compromised that plan, and we had to go to different spots.
You seem remarkably cool and calm and with it. What is going through your head, though, right now?
I'm just concerned about my other coworkers who are not accounted for right now. I'm grateful I was able to find a way out. There are some of my other coworkers who are responsible for getting far more people out, and they should be commended for that.
Did you ever see the gunman?
I did not, sir.
And, how long have you worked for Trader Joe's?
About 3 years.
So, and this is a store, I shop at this store. This is a place that I know well, that it's a very friendly environment. It must be very difficult. You've stayed at this store the entire 3 years?
No,
What is this store like? What is the atmosphere like here?
it's a very busy store. Without question, the busiest store I've worked at. We have a very large crew, a lot of customers. I'm grateful that it took place. Sunday is our busiest day of the week, and if it occurred on a Sunday, it might have been a much more even worse. Yes, sir.
All right, Sean, thank you very, very much. Very nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you, sir.
Very good luck to you.
Thank you.
That was the unbelievably calm, cool, and collected Sean Granercy, who was in the store when all of this happened and helped people escape. Just incredible stories. Not much has changed here. I can tell you right now that the police seem to be in the same position that they were, with just the same amount of cars on this, what would otherwise be a very busy street in Los Angeles, trying to resolve this hostage, or this barricade and possibly hostage situation as well. Alex?
Thank you, Miguel. Marquez right there on the scene. Yes, going on 6:30 there in LA, and as Miguel noted, a very calm and collected store employee. We've been watching aerial video for the last few hours of people coming out of that side window down that ladder to a man who I've been assuming was a police officer, but it was that store employee who was helping his fellow staffers get out of that store as the gunman went inside. Now, the big question that we've been trying to answer is how many people are still inside the store with that barricaded gunman? By definition, I was being told a short time ago, that makes them hostages. We don't know where they are hiding. If they are hiding, we don't know whether they are with the gunman. I want to go back to Charles Ramsey, a former police chief. Charles, is there any way to figure out how many people are inside that store beyond just asking the gunman? Is there any other way to get a sense of numbers so that they can then make the calculus as to when to go in if they have to?
No, I mean, the only thing the gunman can tell you is who he actually has in his sights right now. I would imagine that you very well could have some people that are hiding at various locations within the store. So you're not going to get an exact number at this point in time. But one thing is certain, you have other people that are still in the store. The question is...
All right, we just lost Charles there. I want to go to Art Broderick. Art, I was trying to ask you earlier, should we take away anything from the fact that the gunman went inside, as he fled inside after crashing his car, he didn't shoot anybody? He was... All right, 1 second. We're getting new video from the scene, more aerial pictures from our affiliates. You can see there a heavily armed vehicle right outside. This is the closest that we have seen the police to this Trader Joe's. So they have moved that armored vehicle up to the front entrance of the Trader Joe's. You can see the heavily armed officers with their ballistics gear standing outside. It's very tough from here to tell whether their guns are drawn, but they are standing in what looks like a somewhat relaxed pose. Art Broderick, if you're still there,
I am.
Can we learn anything from the fact that he didn't shoot people on the way in? This is not someone who's on a rampage. This is not someone who premeditated this, who pre-calculated this. This is someone who probably, I would imagine, especially since we know that he's in his teens, is really freaking out right now, given what he knows about the police presence, which is probably much bigger.
That is a big point, because he's not on a rampage and just killing people randomly. So what we know is that and this is a big advantage for the hostage negotiators, they can use this actual motive for their purposes of trying to talk him out of this situation. Now, when you're talking about the SWAT team, the SWAT team is going to contain the inner perimeter. And while the negotiators are talking, the SWAT team is going to try to shrink that perimeter as close as they can to the actual location of where that individual is held up with 1 or 2 or 3 hostages. We don't really know how many he's got. Now, they also might have the capability of actually getting to some of the video that's inside the store. I'm assuming all stores now, especially Trader Joe's, they generally have video cameras around, and there is a possibility.
Hey, Art, I've got to interrupt you again. I'm sorry. What we're looking at here is aerial images of the police officers who have surrounded someone who it looks like they've taken someone into custody. Now, we've seen other people coming out. They have not been held like this. They've been taken away, not in handcuffs. It looks like this is someone who has his face up against the wall, his back to the police officers, in handcuffs, wearing a black tank top, it looks like. As I'd noted just moments earlier, we're gonna head to Miguel Marquez, who is standing right there at the police perimeter. Miguel, what can you see?
Well, it sounds like what you are seeing from the air. I can't see it from here on the ground, but I'm hearing at least from some officials that it appears that he has surrendered. It is not clear that anyone else has been injured or who else is in there with him, but it does appear at this point that whoever has been holed up in that Trader Joe's has surrendered and is either in the custody or shortly will be in the custody of the Los Angeles Police Department. Just a very, very tense Saturday afternoon here in Los Angeles. Alex?
In Silver Lake. Yeah, Miguel, actually what we can see, again, these are from aerial pictures, is someone who is very clearly in custody, who is being led away by the police officers. Now, what we know about the suspect is that he is a young African-American man in his late teens, so a boy, who carried out a shooting. He shot his grandmother and another young woman in Hollywood, which is about 5 miles from this Trader Joe's, before fleeing in his grandmother's car and then running into a post outside this Trader Joe's, jumping out of the car, firing at officers who were in pursuit. And then he went inside and barricaded himself inside that Trader Joe's. We first started getting reports of this just over 2 hours ago, almost 2.5 hours ago. This may be the end of this standoff, of this hostage situation.